I say? I'm calling to.
Call to order the Millwood Beautification tree board.
Mike said you guys don't hear me?
We're good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And you have to bang your gavel, so you
That's
were
the-
official.
That's the best part, I can get that. I seen Kevin do that.
I thought you'd enjoy that.
So I'm calling to order the Millwood Beautification and Tree Board meeting for March 27th, 2023
At 5:33.
at 5:33.
Oh, wow.
What do I do?
Attendance.
Okay.
Vicky Nacarado,
Present.
Charlie Peterson,
Present.
Debbie Linger,
Here.
and then Kyle, and me, Daniel.
Okay.
Old business, the updated DNR grants. As of right now, we're just going through the management plan and trying to get a final draft done to get ready for public questions and for the council to adopt it. So we just gotta go through all that stuff, and we have Jim Flott here to go over that and have any questions. And I guess that we can move on to new business. Basically what I just said, we're gonna discuss the tree inventory and management plan. Jim Flott is gonna go through it with us, and I guess he can, what you came up with.
Okay, I know you guys haven't had this in your hands for very long, and it's a long document, but it is kind of it is the final version barring any kind of public comment that we get. So, but more importantly, comments from you folks are more critical than anything. So, I don't know how long you want to keep that draft or that comment period open. That's kind of up to you folks, but it's at a stage where it's pretty much in its final form, other than some final public input that we get beyond that. And I would like those comments, either from you or the public, to be channeled to one of these two. Then it gets sent to me for incorporation, or at least reviewed. Not necessarily incorporated, but definitely reviewed. Because not everything the public brings into play is going to go in the plan. Some of it's not pertinent to the plan, but we do look at everything that comes in. So typically the window for review is 30 days. So I don't know what you guys have done in the past on some of your plans in the past. Is that?
Yeah, it depends on, sometimes a couple weeks, sometimes up to a month.
Yeah, I wouldn't say somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks is reasonable. Do you folks, in the short time you've had to look at it, you have any specific questions about anything?
It's very detailed, very good,
Thank you.
very overwhelming.
Thank you.
I have some comments and potential edits, but if I'm supposed to go through the staff, then.
Well, if they're minor edits, we could take them now. If they're major, like, changes to the plan, then those might be better off sent.
They're both.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you just send them in?
What are they? You asking?
Yeah, just curious. What?
There's just a couple of grammatical errors, and then the vision statement, I don't know where that came from. So, I mean, that should be a Millwood vision statement, in my opinion, but that's just.
Well, what is I have not seen a vision statement for
Correct. We have
for
not.
urban forestry
Correct.
in Millwood. So
We haven't developed one yet.
right,
as in we.
Exactly, so,
And then there's just some other, you mentioned a tree committee. Let's see, what page is that? Page 20, but there's no reference put before that to a tree committee. So I don't know,
there's a whole section in there on the beautification and tree board.
I know then there's the next page, you mentioned duties and responsibilities for the tree board and the tree committee, but there's no mention of the tree committee before the comment of the tree committee.
Okay,
That's just something that we'll discuss. I mean, that's just moving stuff around,
okay, so
in my opinion.
your suggestion of moving it where?
If you're gonna mention a tree committee before there's any document, or before there's any mention of a tree committee, then maybe you should outline the duties and responsibilities of the different departments, including a tree committee, and then mention the tree and beautification board and the tree committee.
When you say outline the different departments, you talking about all the city departments?
No,
Or-
the tree, those departments responsible for the management of the tree, of our urban forest.
Okay, so,
Like the beautification board, the tree committee that I don't know exists. You see what I'm saying?
not quite, because Public Works is responsible for trees, right? Yeah? Is that
Right.
correct?
Responsible for the maintenance of the trees.
Right, and operating the urban forestry program.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I mean by define the urban forestry program and those duties and responsibilities of those components of that, and then you can then you can mention
Okay,
those committees and their responsibilities.
okay. I got that. So, Charlie, you're suggesting moving that section?
Well, I'm reading on the bottom of the page, page 20, Millwood Beautification and Tree Board.
Right.
So then you get
Let's
down to,
scroll up, go way up to the heading of this section. This is on the tree benefits, if I remember correctly. Keep going, further up, further up, further up. Big heading, big heading. Introduction. Okay, so this is all under intro material. Vision statement, keep scrolling down. Millwood canopy goals, canopy coverage, benefits, introduction. Keep going, keep going. Benefits, we're still in benefits. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. More benefits, keep going. And then we hit the tree board right here. It's all part of the intro section. So where would you have me put that instead?
I'm not sure, that's just a comment.
Mhm.
So in
On
that,
on the latter part of the, scroll way down to, it's gonna be towards the end of the document, like maybe page 60 or 70. Looking for program administration. Way down, keep going. Yeah, open up, get to the table of contents. Thank you. On page. Funding. There we go. page 30, sorry, it's up further.
Framework.
No, down, right next down, keep going. There we go. So, I think where the comments you made, Charlie, about under, what is this program under? That would be something I would modify the language under effective administration to clearly state that the Public Works Department is responsible for the maintenance and operation of trees. And that and then something mentioning the tree board in there as well. But, I mean, does that address what you're talking about?
Not really.
Okay, well, then tell me.
Well, here's, when I'm reading this paragraph under Millwood Beautification and Tree Board at the bottom of page 20, you mentioned the last couple of sentences. The tree board forms a middle link and communication link in the chain of moral authority among the community, city staff, city council. The board does not function as an operational board and should stay out of the operation of the program. That's kind of that statement is kind of a bold statement, and I think it can be rephrased. And then it says the tree committee has the authority to develop a strategic vision for the public, and goes on to the next page, but there's no mention of a tree committee prior to that sentence. So I'm just saying to myself, where did,
Go ahead, that whole section is on what the Millwood Tree Board is about. And any tree board is not an operational board. They don't run the program. They're an advisory committee wherever you go, and that's one of the big issues with the tree board is that they are not dictating to Paul or Daniel or Kyle on how to run the program. You're there to advise them and link between the city and the community. You bring feedback. This is kind of the role of what a tree committee does. If you read any literature on a tree board or tree committee, their role is to bring back communication from the public, feedback from them. But the city people decide how to implement that information that you bring back. You don't direct. And that's what that statement is clearly stating.
I totally understand, but is the last sentence, the tree committee, is the tree committee the tree board, or is that a separate entity?
No,
or is that something different?
No, it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's the
That's what I
exact same thing.
misunderstood. I thought,
Okay, no,
because there was
no.
no mention of a tree committee prior to that statement.
That word committee is just kind of a generic term. I can plug in MTB or MBTB to mean the same thing as what you're talking about.
That's my misunderstanding.
Okay,
So
no,
we've always kind of referred the tree board, to the tree board.
Yeah.
A lot of times we left off the beautification portion of it.
Yeah.
We've been focusing more on the trees.
and that's what I've been hearing over and over. It's called the tree board. Tree committee, tree board are synonymous.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly the
So
same.
it's the same thing, but you are actually a beautification and tree board. We just focus more on trees the last few years. When it first started in 2011, they were doing some beautification things. They were doing them down by the railroad tracks, and they were putting some ladders and plants and, prettying it down a little bit. So,
Understood.
yeah, okay.
That was much harder than
Yeah.
that sounded.
I'm sorry.
No, that's my confusion too as well. I see where you're getting.
On page,
The
well,
word
just,
committee was what was holding things up here.
just since we're rolling along here, on the second paragraph of page 20, the second sentence, the tree committee can be partially a useful resource for Millwood urban forestry staff working to develop and implement a strategic vision, since it provides additional options from individuals who are interested in, that's a long sentence, and typically knowledgeable about the subject at hand and STC. What is STC?
Let me see where you're at again. Say that again, what paragraph you're at?
It's the
Second paragraph, it's basically
Page 21.
the second to the last line in the
Oh, that's a
second paragraph.
typo.
I read that this morning too, and I.
That's a
didn't
typo.
realize either.
That's a typo. That's just a flat out typo. That's an acronym for Street Tree Committee. It just didn't get changed.
But, you know, to save time, I can go through all these comments with the staff. You don't have to waste your time here.
Oh, it's time spent well.
You-
Otherwise,
since
I
you
could-
wrote it, you
otherwise, I
just
mean-
wanna ask.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those things are just really, I mean, there's minor changes, really, all of it. It's wordy.
Right.
And I'm just taking quick notes on what you're saying, so. yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I did see, since we're rolling along, under page 23, the second to last paragraph.
Strategic plans,
Program management objectives
okay,
in the second to last paragraph. The objective of this report is to provide a framework for a strategic management plan for a 10-year period. I thought it was 5.
it is 5. Good point. And that's on page 23. Good catch.
On page 25, the bullet number 10, the last sentence, Millwood Arboricultural Standards and Specifications Manual. Do we have one of those?
No, you do not.
Is that why it's in bold? Because you are suggesting we develop one?
Exactly, yes.
So I
So
think-
Matt, to explain what that is, so you have an ordinance that has some guidelines and policies, but an arboriculture standards and specifications is what clarifies how the work should be done.
Mhm.
So how should the trees be pruned in Millwood? How should they be removed? And we have industry standards that are already out there, but they need to be modified and addressed for Millwood's issues. So that's a separate document. And like for instance, in the specs and standards, you would have a list of trees that are acceptable to plant in Millwood, but you would never put those in an ordinance because, okay, trees and issues change. Like if you had ash trees as an acceptable tree to plant in Millwood, you won't want to plant ash trees now because emerald ash borer is right around the horizon, so you can stop. You would never put that kind of thing in an ordinance that is so static, it's difficult to change. In the specs and standards, you put things that are easily modified as the industry evolves or things happen with species, as an example. So that's something that you can work on and develop.
Yeah, anything that's got changes or could possibly change, so you're not having to change your ordinance all the time, is what Jim's getting at.
Mhm.
We run into that all the time, and so we've started eliminating some of the things that are in our ordinances that have, get upgrades and change all the time. So we don't have to keep bringing this back, so we just refer to a manual, guidelines. And so it's up to the person that's doing this to go back and look at what the current guidelines are for that, instead of having to go back and revise our ordinance every couple of years or every 6 months, whatever the changes happen to be.
I just have a couple of more simple changes if
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
want to keep going.
Sure.
Page 54. that paragraph underneath the picture. Tree planting plans include upfront from local citizens, city staff, state agencies, organizations, businesses, planners, developers, city
Oh,
staff.
City staff, twice, yeah. Well, isn't there multiple city staffs and?
Multiple city staff members.
No, well, that's a typo again. Good catch.
And there's just, I just have one other one, page 61.
Okay.
Under the disease and insect issues, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4th line down, Millwood tree inventory found about 8%, and then it says 640 trees.
Oh, that's off. That was from the original raw data. I gotta fix that. Page 61. Disease and insect. Got it.
That's all I have.
Perfect. Well done, thank you. But at any rate, that's kind of what we're looking for you guys to do, what Charlie just did. If, you can go through like that, and then when you send that stuff in to Daniel or Kyle, page number and kind of the section that it's in, so we can track it a little bit easier. We're gonna make the changes, and get a finished document. And see what we get from the general public as well.
Jim, do we want to change some of the things we found already before we put it out to the public? So we're not dealing with the same things over?
Yeah.
If that's easy enough for you to do?
That's
and
easy,
send it back?
these are easy enough to do, yeah.
That way we're not
Yeah.
rehashing the same
Right,
stuff.
right. Or the other alternative is send it out as it is and see what happens.
See who catches it?
Yeah, actually, right?
See if anybody reads it?
See if anybody reads it. Yeah, no, those are simple changes that I can do real quick and just send another version.
So I don't think that Christina's actually posted this to the website yet, because we were waiting till we had our meeting tonight to discuss what the time frame was gonna be for comments
Or deadline.
and for a deadline on that, for when we post it.
What's Christina's email? I'll send a copy to, and I need your email too now.
I'll write it down for it.
Or you can just send it to me.
Yeah, we'll send it.
Send it, yes. Send it to me.
That work, yeah.
Then I'll just send it. You need your email. It's easy enough to.
Any more
Others?
comments?
I'm impressed with what he found. Good job.
I'm not surprised, because there's, you know, you look at this stuff long enough, and it just kind of becomes, so you miss little typos, things like that. So it's always good to have several sets of eyes looking at it, so, great.
We found that out when we were doing the grant proposal. Several eyes on it,
Yeah.
we still find errors.
Yeah. So, super.
Well, if we don't have any more questions on that, I guess we go back to set up a public comment period deadline next.
What's typical?
You do 4 weeks.
There, it's what you guys think is, what, do you have a track record of review, public review for other plans? You don't want to vary from that. Sorry for it. 2 weeks?
I think we could actually give them a month if we
Month?
wanted to, because we're not gonna meet for a while, and then we'll.
I'm fine with that, that's fine with me.
It's however long you guys want to do it.
Month? Yeah.
So let's say the,
want to be able to get our, meet our deadline for the grant, which I don't know if it has to be adopted before.
No, you want to wind things up so you can build DNR, so I would say,
Right.
let's make it, I'm looking at the calendar here. So today's the 27th, so why not make it, April 24th is pretty close. I think that's a Monday.
So we'll be able to take it to the council.
When's the, yeah, let's
Approval.
try and sync, when is council going to be able to approve it? Does that push it into,
Well, it's
May?
second Tuesday in, April.
Second Tuesday is the 11th.
So that
and then they
isn't very
don't,
much
they
time.
don't meet again until the next month?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the 9th.
So they wouldn't
of May.
approve it till, May 9th. That's
Yeah,
still plenty.
But they may have to have, I'm not sure if they have to have a hearing on it, they have to have a hearing when they hear it, and then they adopt it the following meeting.
So that would put us into June.
Right.
That's getting a little.
That's getting close.
Yeah.
Well-
That's a little tight timeline.
Having a deadline on the 10th is 2 weeks. Today is Monday, so that would be 2 weeks.
But
and
you still
we'll
have
be able to do it by
It's
Tuesday.
time to review it, you know, all the comments, and then meet together as a board to go over it before you send it to the council for adoption, or for review.
Well, what's your all opinion on the council's view of this adoption? Are they gonna have a lot of heartburn with it, or are they gonna just like go through it and say, oh, this is great? From the mayor's comments the other night, it sounds like he's ready to, let's move this thing forward.
Oh, yeah, I think you would like to move it forward.
Yeah. I mean,
There's probably gonna be a few questions, but
well, questions are normal, but I mean, I'm looking at resistance that's
they have
gonna,
the opportunity to review that as well as we put it on
right.
the website.
My concern is if we get into June and they're still, and we don't hit the,
Don't get it adopted.
don't get the deadline adopted, then we're in trouble with DNR. So,
I
I'm
mean,
just
technically-
playing devil's advocate here.
Technically, we've met the requirement, you know, we did the inventory and we came up with a management plan, and now we're just doing the execution of getting it adopted.
Yeah, and DNR might say, okay, fine, that's good. Hopefully you get it adopted. That might be their response.
So I think my recommendation would be for Daniel to call Ben,
That was what I was
tell him
about
where
to
we're at and where this may go.
Yeah, worst case scenario,
Yeah.
but,
So if it has to be adopted by the council, for us to get reimbursed.
that's the big question to ask Daniel right there. If it doesn't have to be adopted by council to meet the grant requirements, then
Yeah.
go with this timeline that we just discussed. That'd be my suggestion.
And we can go with a 2-week comment period and just move forward with, we can meet a special meeting and go over the public comments and move it on.
You could, but you're pretty close to that 2 weeks out for council, right?
What about a compromise, 3 weeks? I'm just
Well,
throwing,
it's still, whatever
Still-
you do is still gonna get pushed out to that next council meeting.
yeah, exactly, so,
I think I would contact Ben tomorrow and
yeah.
see what he says, and if there's an issue, then we can see if we can expedite it. If not, then we've got some time to go through the process a little longer if you want to. But that's up to the board.
What do you all think?
So what are we looking at now? I got confused.
Of,
So 30 days,
Daniel's
and
gonna,
then it'll
well,
go
before, Daniel's gonna call Ben tomorrow, and if there's no requirements by the DNR for adoption of the plan, then we'll stick with the original timeline that we talked about, 4 weeks for public review, then the council and through their process, and which could put us into the June meeting for
Right.
adoption by them. But under any circumstances, I'm I'm about 99% sure that Ben's gonna say, if you got the inventory done and the plan's done, you've met DNR requirements.
I think so too.
Yeah. I've never seen a requirement for this to be adopted by any council. It's a suggestion in the plan that that happen, but it's not a requirement for DNR, on any DNR grant that I've ever seen. But just to
Yeah.
touch all bases.
And I think that's, you know, we had a timeline, I think, when we were doing our grant proposal, that, you know, we tried to get it into that timeframe to get it adopted.
Yeah,
But DNR gave us a shorter period of time to get this done, and we didn't get approval to start until later.
yeah,
So I think they can give us a little bit of grace on that.
let's hope so. I think we're good with that.
That's
And you'll let us know.
With the 4-week and the,
Yeah, I'll email you guys and let them know what he said.
Yeah,
and email me as well on
Yeah, I'll
that
CC you.
one too, so, yeah.
and so then if he says no, we have to have it adopted, then we go to the 2-week scenario?
Yeah, and then probably have a special meeting and then
Yeah.
have everything, yeah. That's the fastest we can do it.
All before the 11th?
No, we'd give them the 2 weeks, and then we'd plan on doing a special meeting for us, and then we'd have it ready for council by the 9th of May.
Oh, okay.
Me.
So I guess we'll put that on hold until I hear from Ben.
Well, once you hear tomorrow, these changes that Charlie suggested, I'll have those, I can get those done and to you in plenty of time for Christina to send it out, so you'll know tomorrow, hopefully from Ben, unless he's on vacation. It is spring break in places.
Okay, so next would be the Arbor Day celebration.
Okay,
All right.
see you all later, as
Thank
always.
you.
As always, good, yeah, go ahead.
For you for, what tree would you recommend us planting by what you've seen out there? And what
Oh,
you
for
think?
Arbor Day?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Where is this gonna take place? In the park?
Now,
Along
I
a
think
street?
maybe the Arboretum.
Arboretum.
Arboretum?
Yeah.
You were saying we need more species out there, we were.
Diversification.
Any wanna go off of that list? That's an open space over there, so that means the class 3 or class 4 trees, none of the small ones. One of the big shade trees. Plant an oak, plant a tulip tree, plant a zelkova, plant a hardy rubber tree. You know, the list is there.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to Garth and see what we got.
Yeah, Garth's got a lot of trees that he's ordered in from, and there's a lot of variety, so.
I just figured I'd ask you.
As long as
since
it's
you
not a
walk around.
maple.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garth gets a lot of trees from, I'm trying, got lost on the name. Down in Pasco. Shoot, can't think of the nursery. They have a tremendous variety of trees down there, deciduous, so. And if you need more space over there, take out some of those calorie pears. Anyone you want to pick, just take it out.
Take out what?
The calorie pears over there,
Oh,
not a good representative. And there's multiple calorie pears over there as well. Some are in pretty bad shape already. So there's one over there that's already got branch failure in it. That'll open up planting space for a new tree. Remove it, grind the stump, and plant. Yeah, there's lindens, some of the Chinese elm, true Chinese elm, there's a lot of trees you can pick from. So. When's Arbor Day? Are you celebrating it on the 10th, like the state, or for our area? Because a lot of times Arbor Day over here is later in the
Later.
month, yeah.
We usually do it later.
Yeah, Spokane does it on the last Saturday of April, usually.
That'd be the-
Because a lot of times,
Typically,
April
we do.
10th, we have snow on the ground a lot of times still, so, or
Yeah.
compared to the west side, so. Okay,
Thank you, Jim.
you guys are welcome, most
Thank
welcome.
you.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
You bet.
So I guess if we wanna do that, last Saturday in April is the 29th. If you wanna do that.
Sounds good as any. I think that's, the 28th is the official day.
And how are we gonna go about picking which kind of tree you guys are gonna do?
Let's leave it up to what Garth has available.
I will just do
Yeah.
it last 3 or 4, doesn't matter which one.
Okay.
So,
We got a large spot over there where we took one out a couple of years ago, so we can make a big hole if we have to.
Great.
And then since we've been doing so much stuff together and there's so much going on, we need to elect a chairperson for you guys, so someone to be the main person, because you guys don't have one. I'm
Well-
assuming it's gonna be Charlie, but I figure
Charlie,
you
it
guys need
is.
to.
He's nominated.
He doesn't look like he's too excited about it.
He's the most knowledgeable.
Um,
Any other board member comments?
No, I don't believe so. I see the recommendation was to have 5 people on our board. So can we actively solicit, how do we have to go about it to put somebody on?
Is there an application or something?
I think when I was reading through that, they were talking about 5 people on the board, but it was like 2 staff members and 3.
2
from-
professionals. They had 2 professionals and then 3 community members. Community is filled. You got
Right.
1
You got
professional.
one professional.
I was thinking of that Chelsea, who was in the city, remember her? She was from,
Oh, the gal that was coming in here.
and she had experience in the city.
We also have that new guy that comes in, he does a lot of line clearing and stuff. He just moved into the area.
Buena Vista,
Yeah.
Yeah, even
The
for-
big guy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
big
guy.
guy.
I had his name written down somewhere, but
Both of those would be great additions. So do we just bring our recommendations here? Do we have to go in front of the mayor, the city council? How do we go about it?
Well, you haven't adopted any of these new rules yet, so we have a resolution that we have currently go under. So
Got it.
You probably have to go what our current resolution says, but once this is adopted, I think we'd be able to do that.
So maybe wait until this is adopted?
But, yeah, because you're gonna have to change your ordinance so that it reflects what your,
We're saying,
what your management plan is. And all of, as you read through this, all of the management plans, or not management plans, but the plans for the city, capital plans, all that needs to reflect this into those plans as well, so that everything is cohesive. But, yeah, once you finalize this management plan, then you want to look at your resolution and make sure there's no conflicts on it. And if there's any changes, that's the time to make it. And then you would adopt or create the resolution that adopts this management plan with those changes in it. So if they recommended that we, have 5 board members and then a couple of start coming to the meetings so that we can get part of the process.
Good point. I don't know the gentleman's name that you're referring to.
I will find his name, I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah, and then I think I have Chelsea's email, so I can email her.
Any other comments?
Staff comments?
I don't have any comments. Looking out there, I don't see any public, so we'll move on.
We got Paul.
He says he's still an employee.
I made tons of comments already, so.
Paul, do you have any comments?
Not this time.
Next meeting. So we should plan the next meeting. Should we plan on a special meeting then?
I'm sure it
Just
has
because
to
we're
be
gonna have to.
one, yeah.
I think we should. So,
So just one more note, if you're gonna, while you're getting ready to change your resolution, maybe change your meeting time to 6 o'clock, only because that's when all the rest of the city meetings they've all changed to 6 o'clock now. So the council went from 7 to 6, and all the rest of the boards are all at 6 as well. We did it before 5:30 because it was more convenient.
I know, it was. For those of you who are here anyway,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes I know Charlie was having a hard time getting here at 5:30 if he runs late in his work, so.
No.
I'm out in about 3,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to get here.
Right. So you do a little more time to be here as chairman.
When do my chair duties start? Next meeting,
Preferably.
since we already have a chair today?
Just call me a partial chair, because I didn't get the members in attendance or anything, so. Not very good.
Well, so if we're gonna have it, the comment period open till the 24th, full, we should try and meet before the 9th, which is the next council meeting.
We can meet May 1st, like, would be a week before.
That looks good to me.
We'll set it at 6, or should we just still do 5:30?
6 is fine.
Special meeting, you can have that anytime you want to.
Oh, okay.
Your regular stay once until you change, I don't know, even says it in the resolution, but you want to have your stated meeting time in the resolution when you. Especially if you can do any time, you just have to do 24-hour notification ahead of time.
Alright, so May 1st, 6 PM, special meeting.
Got it.
Okay, anything else?
When's your opening?
It's gonna be the
29th.
29th of April. We'll see what Garth says about trees.
So we're all good? No last comments?
Last comments.
Right here, somebody want to adjourn?
You have the gavel.
Call to adjourn?
You just close it.
Don't they have to say aye? Can somebody second it? No?
You run the meeting?
Well, fine. Going
We're
home.
done. Good one.
Look at us
was just trying to do it like a council meeting.